Looking for a strategy that handles your sales for you? You're probably shaking your head yes if you're anything like me. Well, you're in luck. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing something I like to call the SB7 framework. You're probably thinking, what the heck is that? Well, let me tell you. It was created by a man named Donald Miller, a New York Times bestseller who wrote a book called Building a Story Brand. And he's come up with this SB7 framework that brands and businesses can use, as well as what's been used for years and years and years to come by big movie companies to be extremely successful in the box office. And brands can use the same exact strategy to beat the competition, to separate themselves, and to be extremely successful with their business. So I am so excited to share this with you today. For the best advice about marketing and entrepreneurship, make sure to hit subscribe to my channel, as well as hit the beautiful red bell right below to make sure you're notified every Tuesday when I drop new content. I read a book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller almost a year and a half ago, if not longer. And since then, I've read the book multiple times. It's safe to say it is one of my favorite business books. And then last year, I actually had the opportunity to hear Donald speak in person at a business mastery event with Tony Robbins. Tony brought on some incredible speakers, but Donald Miller was for sure my favorite presenter, because he gave you the tips and the strategies that I'm going to show you in this video, how to truly separate your business or brand from the competition, and how to stand apart, and how to remain top of mind for your ideal customers. So I'm going to be jumping into that today, and I cannot wait. The first thing that Donald covers in building a story brand is the importance of clarity. There's a statement that Donald says time and again within the book. If you confuse, you lose. Our minds can only process so much information in a day, and if they are coming to a website or on your social media and it's really confusing what you do, they will quickly bounce off your site and find a competitor that clearly states the benefits of working with them. There's 3 things that you need to state extremely clearly. 1, who you are. 2, what you do. And 3, why customers should choose you instead of the competition. It's not too difficult, right? You really should bring your product back to basic human needs. You're probably thinking, what? Yeah, basic human needs. Have you ever heard of something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs? It's something that has been around for a long time, so it's likely that you have heard of it. But if not, or if you need a memory refresher, let me give it to you. On the bottom of the hierarchy, the first thing that every single human being needs is water and food to survive. If people are worried about where their food is coming from, or if they're going to have enough drinking water, they're not moving up the chain. So first and foremost, at the base of our hierarchy is food and water. Second, the second level is shelter. People need to know that they are safe and have somewhere to sleep at night and have a roof over their head, or just safety, that they're not looking over their shoulder all the time, worried that they're going to be killed. So once people have those first 2, they move on from there. The third on the hierarchy is belonging or community. People want to feel part of a group and like they belong somewhere, right? Once people have met these 3 needs, they move on to the 4th, which is status. And that is where people are worried about authority, that people know them, that they're wearing fancy clothes or driving a nice car. And once people have established themselves at this level, they move on to the top of the hierarchy, the 5th and final component, which is self-actualization. And they become concerned with growing themselves as much as possible, becoming the best version of themselves that is possible. And this is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to really think about how your product or service creates or solves one of these factors in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Does your product help people survive or thrive? When we're thinking about this, if we apply it to a house painter is no longer just somebody that paints a house. They might help somebody have a shelter. But even beyond that, I think if you really look at it, a house painter will allow people to feel more comfortable inviting people over to their home, their coworkers, their family, their friends, their first date or second date, third date, whatever. But it's going to allow people to create a community and feel like they belong. So a house painter is no longer somebody that paints a house. They're allowing somebody to fit into a community and belong. How much more impactful is that messaging than we paint houses? All right, guys, comment below and let me know how your product or service meets one of these human needs. Does your product help people to survive or thrive? Either way, it's extremely important. So let me know below which one you meet in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I can't wait to hear. Next, we're going to go over something called the SB7 framework. It's what separates a story from a tweet. A story is something that captures our ever-fleeting attention and creates a memorable experience in our lives. A story that follows certain components can capture anyone's attention, even a stranger. It elicits joy and excitement within us, and it sticks in our head for a long time. It's similar to a melody. You know how sometimes songs get stuck in your head for hours and hours and hours, maybe even days? Yeah. So does a good story. Think about your favorite movies. You can recall what happened in them specifically, right? That's because they followed the SB7 framework. One of my favorite funny moments in the book, Building a Story Brand, is when Donald talks about how his wife refuses to watch movies with him now because he can tell the ending before it ever happens. Wouldn't that be frustrating? So I might ruin movies for you, so just beware. I think hopefully that's worth it to you to have an incredible story, brand, and business, but you might be able to guess the endings of movies after this. So continue at your own expense. All right, so the SB7 framework, let's jump right in. First and most importantly is a character. You've never watched a movie without a main character, right? So first there's a character. Second, that character desires something, but it's difficult to achieve. Third, they meet a guide that can show them the way or help them solve their problem. Then the guide offers a plan of action, something that they can do to solve their problem. They offer fifth is a call to action. They tell the character that they need to do something to solve their problem or to begin the plot. Sixth is failure. They avoid failure somehow. And seventh is success. They achieve their success. These are the 7 basic components of any story. Seriously, think about your favorites, whether it's Star Wars, Clueless, Bond, James Bond, Bourne Identity, 50 Shades of Grey, whatever it might be. All of these follow this SB7 framework. They are extremely, extremely important components of any story. Your own brand story must follow these 7 components to tell an amazing story. With it, you'll be able to capture the attention of your ideal customers and stick in their mind, even if they don't have a need for your service at that moment. When they do, your memorable story will stay in their head and they'll think of you first. So I'm so excited to have shown you the SB7 framework. It's had an amazing, amazing impact on my business, and I know it will for you as well if you implement these tips. So I am going to give you below in the description a free guide to help you figure out these components for your own business if you haven't already. It's a worksheet that you can go through and figure out how your product meets a basic human need and how the 7 components of any story fit in for you. So if you want that, please click the link below to download it. It's in the description. As well, I will be giving a part 2. This is such a meaty topic and there's so much good stuff. So I'll be doing a part 2 next week. If you want to be notified when that comes out, make sure to hit the beautiful subscribe button below as well as the bell next to it to make sure you're notified next time the video is released. I release videos every Tuesday, and if you want to hang out in the meantime, which I would love more than anything else, you can find a link to my social media in the description below as well. I have a Facebook group and I'm very active on Instagram as well. I love getting messages from you and questions, and I am so happy to hear from each and every one of you. All right, have a great week. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.